All right, the marathon is over. Now we are down to the sprint. The Major League Baseball playoffs are finally here. From all the way back in February to spring training, we have now reached the wild card round and the divisional round coming up this week throughout Major League Baseball, both in the National League and the American League. And no better person to break it down with than our Rays insider, Steve Carney. Steve is the host of Under the Orange Roof podcast, as well. He's the creator of stpete9.com, as well as he's a contributor on WDAE here in the Tampa Bay area for Rays coverage throughout the baseball season. So welcome back to the podcast, Steve.
Thank you, Jason. It's good to be back with you again. This is time, 3 or 4, but every time I always enjoy being on with you.
All right, before we get to the baseball, I know you're a longtime Tampa Bay sports personality. I want to get your opinion on Bucks, Patriots, Brady, and Foxborough from Sunday night.
Well, I mean, you think about it, this was probably the most widely anticipated game in the regular season in the NFL, maybe ever. And I certainly think that it lived up to the excitement, but it should not have been that exciting. And, it's funny, Jason, you played the game. I've been around the NFL for, 15 years, working in the capacities that I have. And I have learned over the course of my time covering sports that you really, people that complain about the officials don't really know what's going on in the game. But I can tell you that the officials, Bill Vinovich's crew on Sunday night, did not do a good job officiating that game. And I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a play in the fourth quarter in the final drive in New England's final drive. And this is the play that really, chapped my rear end, so to speak. All right. So that they just get the Bucks get called for pass interference on Jordan Whitehead on Hunter Henry. Henry's not looking for the football as he's going over the middle. He crosses across Whitehead's face as Whitehead is going for the ball behind him. They call Whitehead for pass interference. That's a judgment call. I'm okay. I think it's the wrong call, but it's a judgment call. Officials are allowed to have that. The next play, Hunter Henry gets another reception from Mac Jones, is inbounds. The clock is running. They come up to the line. Henry is called for a false start, and the clock stops.
Right.
By rule, it's under 2 minutes. There's 1:33 on the clock. By rule, you're under 2 minutes. So when the offense commits a penalty that stops the clock,
right,
there not only do you get the mark off of the yardage, but by rule, there should be a 10-second runoff of the play clock, or the Patriots, who did have one timeout left,
have to burn it.
Could have called that timeout to prevent the 10-second runoff.
Right.
Bill Vinovich's crew did not enforce that part of the rule, which was like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like that's part of the rule. And as a experienced referee and an experienced officiating crew, there was no first timers on that crew. That rule was enforced incorrectly, and it helped the Patriots because A, they got to keep their timeout, and B, they stopped the clock on it. Not only that, they added a second on. It was like,
and that's a rule they can get help from New York with on the replay. That's where the guys in New York can help the official on the field by saying, hey, you need to start the clock here. And they didn't do that either.
Yeah. Hey, you need to enforce a 10-second runoff in this. And they dropped the ball. And then you could say it got even worse because on the very next play, the left tackle flinched.
He did. That was the
one. That should have been another 5 yards. It should have been another 10-second runoff.
That was the bad one. That was, to me, that was the really egregious one, is how did they miss that false start by the left tackle? No doubt about
it. Again, that's a judgment call.
No, that's one at that level, you cannot miss that one. That's not a judgment call. I mean,
I can say it's a judgment call because they didn't call the penalty.
Right.
When you call the penalty, you've got to enforce it correctly.
Right. Right.
And
No,
so
right.
I was like, they really dropped the ball. And that could have meant if the Bucks had lost that game,
Yeah.
I was ready to tell my contacts inside, hey, you need to file a protest with the league because they didn't enforce a penalty correctly against New England, and it helped them.
Right. And I'm a high school official, and I usually try to defend the officials whenever I can. But the false start was one you can't defend. I thought personally early in the game there was that catch fumble that they overturned.
Yeah,
I thought that was a catch. I thought he'd had the ball. It was close, but I thought he'd had it long enough for it to be a catch fumble. Who knows? Was there a conspiracy out of the NFL office to keep the game close in Foxborough for TV?
It's Sunday night football. If you looked all the Sunday night football, there hasn't been a blowout on Sunday night football at all this year.
Right. Especially in this game. They knew they were going to get a huge audience and all that stuff. Again, I don't think there's a conspiracy by any means, but those things go through your mind when you see some of these things that happen, and they always happen. They tend to always happen in Foxborough too. Mm-hmm. The Patriots always get the benefit of the doubt, it seems like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's get to the Diamond. Big, as we are taping this as wild card games are going on. So if you're listening to this, the wild card game's probably already over. So you're going to know who's in the divisional round to face the Rays and the Giants. We got two great wild card games: Yankees, Red Sox, LA, St. Louis. Just your general thoughts about those two games.
Well, if the playoffs are a television show, they got maybe the two most interesting wild card games that they could ask for. I mean, you get the Yankees and the Red Sox, which is ratings bonanza. Anyway, when New York and when Major League Baseball comes out, the networks see Boston and New York and they go, that's the game that we want.
Yes,
because we know how old the rivalry is, we know how heated the rivalry has been, and the fact is that that this is going to be one game, and as they say in wrestling, loser leave town. And technically this when it's winner leave town as well, because the winner's got to come to Tropicana Field to take on the Rays in the American League Division Series. But that's ratings gold on a Tuesday night that ESPN is going to have here. And then Wednesday's game, you've got the Dodgers, who only finished with 106 wins on the season, but they're the number one wild card because the Giants finished with 107 wins after getting out to that huge start on them. And they take on a St. Louis Cardinals team that is coming off of a 17-game winning streak. So you would think that the Dodgers and the Giants are the hottest teams in baseball, but it's really the Cardinals. Last 3 weeks. The Cardinals, who were not anywhere close to sniffing a playoff berth, and all of a sudden here they are jumping over the Padres and jumping over a couple of other teams to get into that conversation and be a part of here this postseason. And I'm really curious to see how that works out, because in that instance you've got two of the older teams,
right?
Both of them, both the Cardinals and the Dodgers were formed in the 1880s, and so I look at both of these games.
Four huge baseball markets, huge markets, and legendary markets at that.
Indeed, it's that I would think that these may be the two most highly rated when it comes to the eyeballs watching television that you're going to see here in quite a while, having Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers, Cardinals.
All right, who do you get the edge to? You got Cole and Eovaldi in Yankees, Red Sox, and then you got Wainwright and Scherzer, St. Louis and LA. Quick call.
For me, I think it's the Yankees. Garrett Cole, I think is my runner-up for the Cy Young.
Yeah,
I have Robbie Ray of Toronto. Would have been my choice for Cy Young if I had a vote. So I had Cole second. I had Eovaldi, I think, third. I had him fourth. It's going to be a great pitching matchup. I think it really depends on if JD Martinez plays tonight, or as we're taping this. If JD Martinez plays, I think it's going to be a little more difficult. But Garrett Cole is just so strong. This is why they're paying him $340 million to win this game. So we'll see. But I have the Yankees winning.
What about LA St. Louis? You got the old man Wainwright against the almost old man Scherzer.
I was going to say Scherzer ain't much younger than Wainwright. Wainwright's 40 and Scherzer is 37. So this is going to be graybeards galore. I got mine going just.
Me too. I got a little scruff too.
Yeah, this is about 2 months worth. So. Don't get much bigger than this, which is nice in one way, but it kind of gets kind of nasty in another. But I think go against Max Scherzer and the Dodgers. They've done so much this year. They're so loaded. A lot of people think that they are still the team to beat, even though they're the wild card. In the entire tournament here. Yep. So I'm gonna go with Scherzer and the Dodgers here, just to make sure that we get Dodgers Giants in the NLDS. So that would be
classic. All right, before we get to the analysis of the other series, let's give me a little background on the Rays and all the teams that have had off since Sunday. You got the White Sox, Astros, Brewers, Atlanta, San Francisco, and the Rays. What is their approach going to be these 3 days leading up to their game one, having to wait basically 4 or 5 days to play the next game?
Yeah, you know what? This is great for these teams. No, they really haven't had a chance to stop and reset since the All-Star break in the beginning of July. So I look at what this stretch is going to be allow them to do. It's going to allow their bullpen to get completely 100% healthy. And for the Rays, they've been using their bullpen matchup wise for the last 4 or 5 days of the season. They weren't letting their pitchers go more than say 3 innings, especially their young pitchers, their Rasmussens, their Bozes, their McClanahans. They all went 3 innings, 2 2/3 innings, 3 innings. The only guy that went longer than that was Michael Wacha. And that's because I don't think they expect Michael Wacha to be in the rotation for the ALDS. Best of 5, you really only need 3 starting pitchers.
Right.
So, but you're going to want to make sure that all of these guys are healthy. The hitters, they're going to get a couple of workouts in. They got Monday completely off, so they got a chance to, rest and recover.
Decompress.
Yeah, because this has been quite a run over the last week and a half, going from clinching the American League playoff berth to clinching the American League East to getting the best record to 100 wins. This has been, a road of accomplishments that have all come very quickly. And so they got Monday off. They'll work out at the Trop for the Rays on Tuesday. They'll probably do some work on Wednesday as well. And then they'll get ready as it would be a normal game because of the 8:08 start. They can get in at normal time and be ready to go in their normal start coming up on Thursday. So it's been a little bit of rest, a little bit of workout. You want to make sure that you're not rusty for that first game because, with the wild card teams, at least, they will have played on Tuesday or on Wednesday.
Right.
And then with the DSs starting Thursday or Friday, it's only like just getting a normal day off for them. So they're still in pretty good shape, although we'll see what their pitching staffs look like.
No, you're right. And remember, folks, it's a 3 out of 5 game series. They're going to play 2 games in Tampa. And the home teams are all going to host their 2 games. They get a day off, and then they're going to play 2 more in the road visitor. Do they get a day off after game 4s?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So
get
a day off, and then they'll come back for a game 5 if necessary.
Which is why you only need 3 starting pitchers, because you can go 1, 2, 2 day off, 3, 1 day off, 2. So
right. Talk to the fans about how the rosters can be constructed. So if players can be put on a divisional roster, can they be removed during the series?
They can for injury, but here's the thing. If you are removed from the roster during a series, you cannot return in that series nor the next series. So if you get removed from the roster in the AL Division Series, let's say, for example, let's just go with Nick Anderson.
A reliever. Exactly. That's where usually you see these moves is the reliever or maybe the fourth outfielder, fifth outfielder kind of guy, or a catcher or a third catcher maybe gets removed.
Yeah, and you get a chance to reset your roster after every series.
Okay.
So, but if you were taking off the roster in the middle of a series, you're now ineligible to return in that series, and you're ineligible to be put on the roster for the next series. So if someone's taken off for injury in the ALDS, the earliest they can come back is the World Series.
Right.
So,
okay.
so front offices have to bear that in mind as well.
And you have to balance the 5-game series versus the next series being a 7-game series, and obviously the World Series. So there's some gamesmanship and some strategy that goes into, especially in the reliever side, of what relievers against what matchups you like, lefties and righties, how you want to balance your bullpen. So those are under the radar decisions that have to be made by all these managers. All right, let's get to Kevin Cash. You and I both know the fateful decision he made last year with Snell in the playoffs. You know, that was debated left and right by everybody around the world.
And it's still being debated.
That's right. And it's going to be debated every time there's any kind of decision coming up. How do you think Kevin Cash, you being around him all year, you talking to him, I'm sure, on and off the record, how do you think he's handled that moment, and how do you think that's going to affect his decision-making leading into the playoffs this year?
I think he's handled it perfectly. You know, he has said, you know, do you want to go back and maybe not do that? He said, sure, because you know that the opposite effects, you know, by doing it, you know that they're not going to win. You know that, you know, that mark is set. We know that he pulls Blake Snell and the bullpen gives up a couple of runs and they end up losing the game. You don't know if he stays in, he doesn't give up a couple of runs and they lose game anyway. So, you know, it's 50, you know, right now we know what one side, one fork of the historical road is all about, but you don't know the other side. So he says that, yeah, I would love to go back and know what would happen if I, you know, left Blake Snell in. Now, to be honest, I think that if he leaves Blake Snell in, Snell gives up the lead anyway. So I'm completely serious. Snell had not gone 6 innings in a game all year.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, he's probably going to give up the lead anyway. And the Dodgers had not been shut out last year. They went the entire season and did not score 0 runs. So having a 1-0 lead, you had to know that they were going to score at least 1. And so I had a feeling that, you know, if the offense could have gotten him a couple of more runs,
right,
if it had been 3-0, he probably stays in. But it's 1-0, and you gotta fight. You gotta figure out a way to keep putting up zeros. So he's handled it great. Has it affected him? Absolutely not. Nope, not 1 second. You know, he has not lost a moment of sleep over it. He is not, and nothing has changed in the way that he has done things. And, you know, obviously the way that he is doing things works. Is they won 100 games this year for the first time in franchise history.
Right.
And he would be my vote for manager of the year because they've used 61 different players, over 40 pitchers. They've used 18 rookies. I mean, the numbers that they have put up with some of these, you look at it, no pitcher had more than 10 wins.
Right.
You know, they had a couple of them that finished with 10 wins. McClanahan, Fleming both had 10, but nobody had more than 10.
Right.
And, you know, all the guys, they had 13 different pitchers recorded a save. I mean, they spread the wealth around, and they do it better than any other team out there. And that's because they've been doing it longer than any other team out there.
And the Rays, their MOs, and we're going to get to we'll break down the series in just a minute, but the Rays are not as deep at the starting pitching with experience this year. They're pitching a lot of young guys as their starters. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's going to have as much of he'll have a quick trigger with the young pitchers this year, as opposed to last year. He had some more veterans. He had Snell, Morton, guys that have some experience. That's where the decision probably came, was hey, I got an experienced pitcher. Do I leave him out there? Do I pull him? I don't think this year will be a debate at all. Any kind of trouble, he's going to the bullpen.
No, it's going to be matchup city. And I said on WDAE when they asked, what do you think the rotation is going to be? It would not surprise me one iota if the rotation for the 5-game series isn't McClanahan opener.
Right.
And play matchups right from the get-go. You're going to be able to get those matchups, whether it's against the Red Sox or the Yankees, that you feel that you're going to be in good shape. And you won the season series over both of these teams 11-8. So,
right.
This should be either way, you're looking at a team that you should be able to handle matchup wise, because you were able to do so all year long with just 26 players. And so I think that, you'll probably see an extra reliever as opposed to a pitcher.
Sure.
A starting pitcher. This might be the one time that they leave, say, Ryan Yarbrough off the list,
right,
because the Yankees have so many right-handed hitting power bats with Judge and with Stanton and with Torres and with Sanchez.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's Ryan Yarbrough that gets left off, as opposed to, say, if it was Boston, because they've got, guys like Devers and
right.
Verdugo that are all lefties. All the left-handed bats that Boston, can trot out. Maybe you leave Michael Wacha off, although they have Hunter Renfroe who has burned their lefties. So maybe you leave Yarbrough off. You never know. But I think that it's more likely that you see Yarbrough left off if it's the Yankees series, and you add another reliever. And then with the left-handed pitching, that's when you go, okay, do we want Jordan Luplow, or do we want who do you leave off in that case? Do you leave Jordan Luplow off? Do you leave Joey Wendell off? Do you leave, there's going to be a lot of questions that will come about here as we get ready to see the rosters get finalized. And they don't have to be finalized until Wednesday, and we're taping this on Tuesday morning. So we still have some time to figure this all out.
Yep. All right. One more off the field question. Then we'll get some predictions. We'll go around each of the series and get a prediction.
Sure.
Stu Sternberg. A lot of controversy with Sternberg the last couple of weeks. Banners about Montreal getting put up, getting taken down. Not a good PR week for Stu Sternberg and company the last 10 days or so. Just give the audience an update on the Montreal situation and what you're hearing and what you think, how you think that's going to play out during the playoffs, if at all.
Oh, I'm sure there will be a lot of talk about Montreal, especially now that the team announced that they were going to put up a sign, and then I said, "Oh no, we're not going to put up a sign." But they put that thought into people's into the media's mind, and so of course it's going to get talked about, as much as they can. For me, this is more about a wake-up call to not the personal fan base community, because there are plenty of fans that are in this market.
The politicians. This is a wake-up call to the politicians.
This is a wake-up call to the business community.
Yes.
Because most people don't understand that the ticket setup scenario, most places will have, when it comes to season tickets, 2/3 of them are owned by businesses and 1/3 of them are owned by, the regular ham and eggers like you and I. It's the other way around here in Tampa Bay, that most of their season ticket base is individually owned. There are very few season tickets that are held by corporations here in town. Businesses have not bought season tickets, and there's still the divide. There's been a divide as long as I've been here, and I've been here now close to 20 years. People in Tampa, don't want to come to St. Petersburg. For some, it's like, we are Tampa. We don't go to St. Pete. We're Tampa. And so we're a Tampa business. We don't do anything in St. Petersburg. It's like, St. Pete's 25 minutes over the bridge. It's not that far. And people go, oh, well, it's an hour when rush hour, and I got to go over the bridge. Come on, give me a break. People make much longer treks when they own their business. And hey, it's a business write-off, you morons. It's like, come on. It blows my mind how there is no, and it's also the politicians. Tampa politicians, Tampa. St. Pete politicians, the mayor of St. Petersburg, Rick Kreisman, St. Pete. WDA had one of the candidates for the mayor of St. Pete, because Mayor Kreisman, his term ends at the end of this year. He's term limited. He can't run for re-election. One of the candidates called in to talk about this, and my friend Aaron Jacobson, God bless him, asked the question that most fans wanted to hear. And they said, if you could have one of these two, a half of a season in St. Petersburg and half of a season in Montreal, or a full season in Tampa, which would you rather have? And you know what he said? He said, yeah, I'd rather have the half a season in St. Pete, because that brings money into my city. And it's like, there's your disconnect.
Right.
Hello.
That ain't happening. I mean, bottom line is there any chance they split St. Pete and Montreal? I don't think there is.
No, I don't think so at all.
I think they're either going to get a deal done in Tampa, or they're going to move. I think Sternberg, it was probably a dumb PR move, but I really think he was trying to make it very clear to everybody, hey, I'm serious here. I'm not joking around about getting something done. One way or another, we're either getting the stadium done, or I'm moving in the next handful of years.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you completely on that.
All right. Go ahead.
No, I'm
okay. All right. You listen to the Powers on Sports podcast. We're here with Steve Carney, Rays insider, host of the UTOR podcast, creator of StPete9.com. Definitely go to that for all your Rays content. I'm sure you'll have a bunch of playoff content on there as well, Steve. Let's get to the actual series. Let's go to the American League Divisional Series. The interesting series between the old men managers. You got Tony La Russa with the White Sox, and you got Dusty Baker with the Astros. Two old school guys.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little history. They had some beanball incidents back in the early 2000s when they were with the Giants and the Cardinals. Who knows how much they like each other? You got two old school guys. Your thoughts on those two teams?
It's gonna be a great series. To me, the White Sox may be the most complete team in the American League because their bullpen. Yeah, I think that the Rays have maybe the deepest team, but I think that for when it comes to complete, I mean, when you have Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon, Dallas Keuchel that you can roll out in a 5-game series, and you've got
Giolito.
You've got Giolito. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to Giolito. And then you can roll Garrett Crochet, Michael Kopech, Craig Kimbrell, and Liam Hendricks out of your bullpen.
Right.
And then you're hitting your batting order is going to feature Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu and Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. They are so thick. The White Sox are the team, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets. They're the one team that worry me.
Yeah.
For the Rays. That's the team that I'm most concerned about in the postseason. Astros, yeah, they're good. Yeah, they can hit. They don't pitch as well as the other teams. And so I think that this is going to be a White Sox win. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 games because I have a feeling that the Astros can do enough to steal a game or two, but I don't see them winning 3 out of 5.
All right, so you like the White Sox. Let's go to the National League. You got Milwaukee and Atlanta. The Braves had a big run the second half of the year after they lost Acuna. They went out and revamped their whole outfield, bunch of trades, the pitching started to pitch much better, and Freeman and Albies and those guys started to play. So the Braves, and then obviously you got the Brewers with the pitching, the starting pitching, Burns, Woodruff, big loss. Devin Williams breaks his hand in the celebration. That's a big loss, but you got Hader at the back end as well. So your thoughts, Milwaukee, Atlanta?
Yeah, for me, I think this is going to be about the starting pitching. I look at Burns, I look at Woodruff, I look at Peralta. Those are all guys that are just you're gonna trot those guys out 1, 2, 3, and yes, no Devin Williams, but you still have Josh Hader in the 9th inning, and I think that that's going to be a little bit too difficult for. And you know, you talked about Freeman and Albies and you know, all the guys that
Austin Riley.
yeah, Austin Riley and the like that Atlanta has. Milwaukee's gonna trot out Lorenzo Cain and Avi Garcia and Yelich and Colton Wong and Vogelbach and Willie Adames.
Yes.
You know, I really do think, you know, this is going to, I think that all of these division series are going to be fantastic. And I would go with Milwaukee.
Then you got the Giants who are just laying in the weeds. All the old guys with the Giants, they've all had career years, all put it together. What a year for Kapler and the Giants, Longoria, which we know well. You know, you got Buster Posey, got some Florida ties. Can the Giants keep it going, or do you think this is you know, they had a great regular season and they're going to kind of run out of gas here at the finish line?
Yeah, if it's the Dodgers, this is going to be the most interesting of the division series. I do think they run out of gas, though. I really do. I think the Giants, they've been fantastic all year long. I wonder how their pitching is going to hold up. It has all year, but this is the postseason. You know, they weren't here, you know, in the sprint. You know, I'm curious to see how many bullets are left in the tank for some of their pitchers. We know that there are bullets left with the Dodgers and with the Cardinals. I certainly think that that's going to be the big question with the Giants. And so I think if it's the Dodgers that they play, I think it's going to be, I think it's LA. If it's St. Louis, I think the Giants have a better shot.
All right. Now, obviously, we both think the Rays will get through. The one thing that does scare me is you've seen these teams so many times, Yankees and Red Sox, you know, they're so familiar with each other. You never know. It could be you have 2-3 bad days and it's over.
And if it's Boston, the Rays will see Sale twice. And that concerns me.
Where you're only going to see Cole probably once because of him pitching the wild card game. So yeah, that's definitely something to be. All right, give me a World Series prediction.
I think we get a rematch. I think I've got Rays Dodgers. I really do.
All right, I got you. I'm gonna go Rays, and I'm gonna kind of come out. I don't know why I think this. I'm gonna go Rays and Braves. I got a sleeper in Atlanta. I don't know why. I just got to find. I don't know why I think the Braves, but because I know they got bullpen problems and all that stuff. I'm gonna go Rays and Braves as a sleeper here. So, well, Steve, great work, man. Appreciate it. Keep up the great work. Tell the audience one more time where they can find all your content throughout the playoffs.
Absolutely. Check out stpete9.com for all your Rays news and analysis. We also have a full archive of Under the Orange Roof. The podcast comes out every Monday. I've got my entire setup this week concerning all the postseason awards, MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year. You can check that out at stpete9.com. And starting on Thursday, excuse me, I have to cough. Starting on Thursday, we will be doing special bonus episodes of Under the Orange Roof after every playoff game. So you will get a full recap of every playoff game the next morning on stpete9.com. Great to hear from everything that's gone on from the night before.
And remember, folks, starting Thursday, you're going to have a minimum of 2 games a night, and there'll be a couple days where there'll be 4 games in a day. So if you're a baseball fan, I know there's tons of baseball fans, and that not everybody follows it during the regular season, but this is the time of the year, and we have some classic matchups potentially with, obviously, Dodgers and Giants potentially. You got Yankees, Boston, Tampa Bay. You got the old guys and the White Sox with La Russa and Dusty Baker. So definitely, go to stpete9.com, check out the podcast. Great information, great insight from Steve. Are you going to be traveling with the Rays as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I'm on my own dime, Jason.
I got you. So, but yeah, I'm with you. So get out to the Trop, folks. There's plenty of tickets. Get to the Trop. Real quick, tell the local Tampa fans they're playing Thursday night at 8:00, correct?
Thursday at 8, Friday at 7. Both of them at Tropicana Fields. Tickets are still available. Games, if you're not in the market, are going to be on FS1. And then and then they've got the day off Saturday. They'll play Sunday, Monday at either Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium. Sunday's game is a 4:00 start. So daytime, the Rays get prime time when they're at home and daytime when they're on the road.
Right. And they'll be competing against the Buccaneers. I don't know if the Buccaneers play at 1 or 4 this week.
I think they're at 1.
So you better go straight from the Bucs to the Rays game, a Sunday of sports here in the Tampa area. Steve, keep up the great work. We'll be in touch. Continue success.
Thank you, Jace. Appreciate it, buddy.
You got it. We'll be right back on the Powers on Sports podcast.